With a history stretching back nearly 5,000 years, Jerusalem holds deep significance for Judaism, Christianity and Islam. This shared religious importance has made Jerusalem a focal point of conflict, with the city changing hands over 40 times throughout its tumultuous history. But how did a modest settlement by a water spring evolve into one of the most sacred and politically contentious cities on earth? The origins of Jerusalem date back to around 3000 BC, when the first settlement was established near the Gihon Spring. This vital water source enabled early inhabitants to cultivate the land and build a foundation for the city. By 2000 BC, Jerusalem was situated just beyond the borders of the Middle Egyptian kingdom. The first known written reference to the city, Rusalimum, appeared in Egyptian records around this time. The city was occupied by the Canaanites, who constructed a stone wall to protect the settlement and its precious water supply. By 1500 BC, Jerusalem fell under the rule of the Egyptian New Kingdom as a vassal state, part of a vast territory stretching from the Sahara to modern-day Turkey. The decline of Egyptian power during the 12th century BC, part of the broader Late Bronze Age collapse, allowed smaller independent kingdoms to emerge. Among these were the Israelites who, according to biblical tradition, captured Jerusalem around 1000 BC under the leadership of King David. He made the city the capital of the Kingdom of Israel, and his successor, King Solomon, constructed the first temple, solidifying Jerusalem as a major religious and cultural center for Judaism. The United Kingdom eventually split into two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south, with Jerusalem as the latter's capital. For the next 4 centuries, Jerusalem remained central to Jewish life, but faced powers. In 597 BC, King Nebuchadnezzar II of the Babylonian Empire besieged and captured Jerusalem. A rebellion a decade later led to the city's destruction. 7 BC, including the razing of Solomon's temple. In 539 BC, the Achaemenid Empire under Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon. Cyrus allowed the exiled Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple, ushering in a new chapter for the city. Jerusalem remained under Persian control for 2 centuries until Alexander the Great captured it in 332 BC. After his death, the city changed hands between his successors, the Ptolemies and the Seleucids, before the Maccabean revolt in the 160s BC restored Jewish autonomy. In 37 BC, Herod the Great seized Jerusalem, ruling as a client king of the Roman Republic. By 6 CE, Rome absorbed Jerusalem into the province of Judea, directly governing the city. The region became a flashpoint for conflict culminating in the First Jewish-Roman War from 66 to 73 CE. In 70 CE, the Romans besieged and destroyed much of Jerusalem, including the Second Temple. By the 4th century CE, the Roman Empire shifted toward Christianity under Emperor Constantine the Great. His mother, Helena, traveled to Jerusalem and identified the site of Jesus' crucifixion and burial. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre was built on this location in 335 CE, making Jerusalem a major pilgrimage destination for Christians. In 638 CE, Muslim armies led by Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab captured Jerusalem from the Byzantine Empire. Under Muslim rule, the city became a place of religious tolerance, allowing Jews and Christians to worship freely. The Umayyad Caliphate later constructed the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, establishing Jerusalem as the 3rd holiest city in Islam after Mecca and Medina. However, the era of religious coexistence began to erode by the 11th century. The Fatimid Caliphate imposed restrictions on non-Muslims, culminating in the destruction of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in 1009. Reports of Christian persecution and threats to the Byzantine Empire prompted Pope Urban II to launch the First Crusade in 1095. By 1099, Crusaders captured Jerusalem, massacring much of its Muslim and Jewish population and establishing the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The city's Christian rule lasted less than a century before Saladin, the founder of the Ayyubid dynasty, reclaimed it for Islam in 1187. Despite subsequent crusades, the city remained under Muslim control, eventually falling to the Mamluks in 1291 and later the Ottoman Empire in 1516. Under Ottoman rule, Jerusalem experienced relative religious harmony, with its ancient walls being rebuilt during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent. By the 19th century, Jerusalem had declined into a small provincial town with a population of about 8,000 people. However, the weakening Ottoman Empire and growing European interest reignited attention toward the city. European powers constructed churches, consulates and institutions, while Jewish immigrants fleeing persecution in Eastern Europe began to return. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in Jerusalem's long and storied history, a chapter still being written today.